and she had several health problems. In fact, she walked on a walker because he hit her in the knees with a police billy club and caused damage to her knees. So she still walks on a walker because of that. So she comes back and I make a doctor's appointment for her. She goes to the doctor and they check her in the hospital to do some tests. And she has a heart attack. Her heart stops.
And I quit breathing twice on the table. And then they used the paddles on me. And then they had a man on the table that they were going to do surgery, heart surgery.
So they removed somebody from the operating table, took her in immediately. They did a bypass surgery, 3 bypasses, I believe, and replaced a valve in her heart. Then he fixed it after that with the HIPAA laws so that no one could see my mom in the hospital. So for weeks, we had no idea whether she was going to live or die. She was in a coma for 7 days, and we could have no contact with her whatsoever. My aunts, myself, my wife, nobody. So nobody could visit her except him. I mean, that's like, here's you're like leading the criminal to the cash and just letting them have at it how they wanted. And he did. He went to the hospital. He created a ruckus in the hospital. And the nurses came in because he was throwing furniture around in the room. They had to ask him to leave. So finally, they served him with a restraining order. He got the eviction notice. But what was unfortunate, she was ready to move out of the hospital. And there was a social worker who worked for the hospital. And she told him, in fact, I have a note here where he wrote it down with his little scribbling, that she was going to Arbor Hills medical facility, and that's where she was going to be. And she was not at all supposed to tell anybody. There was a restraining order, and she was not supposed to say where she was going. And so he knew now where she was going. So my mom says, well, he knows now. I want you to send me somewhere else. And the social worker told her that you don't know what you're talking about. You were brought here from the convalescent hospital. You're going back. She goes, my mom says, no, I wasn't. I came from my home to the hospital. I know exactly what was going on. And she says, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're going here. And they sent her there. And well, I followed the ambulance down there. And sure enough, he's sitting in the parking lot waiting. In fact, he gets out of the van and they're taking him on a tour of the facility because they had no idea what was going on. I went in the back door and I gave them a copy of the restraining order because I didn't want to have a confrontation with him. So they went and gave him a copy, told him he had to leave.
My uncle took a loaded gun and drove over here with the van. So I called where my mom was visiting my aunt in the rest home where my aunt was recovering from surgery.
Because of his violent behavior and the fact that he had the gun, was running around, they feared for my mom in the convalescent hospital because he'd made several threats about killing her and killing himself. So they put armed police officers in the parking lot 24 hours a day.
I didn't know what he would do at that point. He wasn't rational at that point. He already felt he'd lost everything. He didn't feel he had any options left. I was very frightened.
2 days later, they found his body about a quarter mile away under a bush where he had crawled up under this bush by a church and shot himself in the head. I hate to say it, but it was a big relief to everybody. It was like, finally, it's over with, I don't have to put up with this anymore. I think my mother she's sometimes like a teenage girl. She's been reborn again. She still drives. She got her driver's license back. And one of the things he did, he took her driver's license away from her. And she got her driver's license back. She has her own little apartment. She got her own little business, and she's quite happy, even though she walks around on a walker. I mean, it doesn't hold her back. She goes everywhere she wants.
And so I go home, and like last night, I sat down and I drank that fuzzy navel, watched the ball game, and I woke up at 10 minutes to 2 in my chair, and I hadn't even had my supper. But I would say Pat would be now just like she's been let out of prison.
She's free as a bird.
She can do the things she wants.
She's happy.
I mean, it's a rewarding experience to see, and I want her to experience as many things as she can, because she's 83 now. So I tell her every day, whatever you want to do, go for it. Have a good time.
Oh, it's just, I can't believe it. I can't believe that I'm free.